Hi, it's Wayne Hall back again with another indie comic that you can buy in your local shop. And this week I'm happy to be talking about one of my favorites. It's called The Wrong Earth, as you see in the title sequence. And it had a mini series. This one here in particular, I have the paper version of Dragonfly and Dragonfly Man. And there you see The Wrong Earth down here. The whole series is based on the concept, the old joke that if Adam West Batman had come across Christopher Nolan Batman, he might try to arrest him because it looks like a criminal. And so what happens on this series is that these two heroes are changing Earths. Dragonfly Man, which is more of the Adam West like Batman, and Dragonfly, who is Christopher Nolan like, they switch Earths, and of course both of them have a sidekick by the name of Stinger, who's on there, and you can see the way that they're treated is so different between the two of them, and it ends up very interestingly. In the current series, we find out why they've had to go to different Earths and why they've been switched, and we actually get to see the two of them interact with each other, and it's a lot of fun, I have to say. They get captured, and in one place, they're stuck on a wall, and Dragonfly Man is on the left, and Dragonfly's on the right. And Dragonfly says, "Well," and then we go to the next panel, and he says, "Don't you have any anti-manacle cream or some other ridiculous way out of this?" And Dragonfly Man, who never loses his cool, says, "I know how we're going to escape." "Great, fine, let's go," the other goes. "When the time is right," he goes. And it's really a lot of fun to read. The whole thing is just a wonderful series, giving commentary on the archetypal Batman and that kind of character. Marvel's got several versions of him as well. And so it's really an interesting book to see how they handle this. Um, we find out in this new series why they've been switched, as I said, and they come to discuss what's going on with the big bad, shall we say. And it's a lot of fun to see how these things go. Now, of course, Ahoy has done that with Superman as well. They've got a book called Penultiman, and that is about a Superman alike who's insecure, interestingly enough. And I'm looking forward to the day when these guys cross over. It'll be a lot of fun because I always enjoy when Batman and Superman get together. To see these two very different characters get together would be a lot of fun for me. So we'll see that. But anyway, getting back to Dragonfly and Dragonfly Man, it's a lot of interesting things to see how they go. We get to see how the different villains are from universe to universe. And then we get to see how the heroes are, the people who work with these heroes. Everything is very different in the two Earths, and it's really an interesting twist. Even on the picture of Dragonfly and Dragonfly Man being captured, you can see that Dragonfly is much more muscular, and the other guy, Dragonfly Man, is much less so. He's much more dad bodish, I guess you want to say. And the two of them, when they interact, that's where a lot of the comedy comes when they criticize each other with a lot less than respect. That's the best way to say it. And it's such an interesting thing to read. I've enjoyed it. The trick about this, and I've already talked a little bit about this, is the fact that they struggle to get these things named properly in my mind. The first series was called The Wrong Earth, and that's where we get to see what's going on. This one was like after that, and it's not called Wrong Earth, it's called Dragonfly and Dragonfly Man. And that's a problem because, if you're looking for Wrong Earth, that's a way different part of the alphabet. And the current one, they've gone back to the Wrong Earth, thankfully. And I think that makes it a lot easier to keep up with. But the thing that's really fun to see about this is what if, my favorite question, what if Batman was on a different planet? What if Batman came from two different worlds? And if you ran into each other, it's not like in DC Justice Society and Justice League, there were two different Batmans. One was older than the other. But this one, they are Batman as if they had been growing up in a different universe. And as such, I enjoy it. Let's just say there are surprises along the way. Batman has Batgirl, and something similar happens in this book. More than that, I don't want to say because I think it's a lot of fun to see it. The technology they use is a lot more fun. Of course, Dragonfly Man has a lot more of those crazy devices. The other guy tends not to use those kinds of things, which is a great deal of hilarity as far as I can tell. And I just don't know how this is going to wrap up. And that's the fun thing about it. I think that Tom Payer, who does the writing of these, has a real interesting imagination when it comes to approaching superheroes. Because, a lot of people say you can't do anything more with superheroes because it's already been done. And I don't think that's the case. And Mr. Tom shows us that there's still room for lots of creativity. So let's get to the grading. The first grading level, of course, is writing. And I think the writing is particularly sharp in this. I would give it at least an A. The way that the two of them are obviously different from each other, and yet they're the same character, is really very enjoyable. I really get a huge kick out of the way they're written. They're smartly done, and I think it's just a wonderful, wonderful series. I hope this isn't the end of it, to be honest with you. I really enjoy it. As a longtime Batman fan, I am really enjoying the heck out of this. Now, the art is very good, very properly superheroic, which I really like. And I think it's done superbly well because it fits the tone. As you can tell, when he's in the darker universe, things are darker, a lot darker. When he's in the superhero, it's all bright colors and happy looking stuff and things like that. The commissioners are very different based on the universe. So I think the art is clearly well done so that we know right away who is who and what universe we're talking with. And even when they're in the different universes than they normally belong in, we see a lot of difference, and I really like that. It's really, really well done. So I would give the A to the art. Art is just a great, superbly done thing. Lettering, as I'm always critical of, I think it's actually quite well done in this book and in all of them across the board, including the current one. The current one has a very good job of doing it. When they're captured, they're apparently on a wall. It's a white background completely, as you saw. And it's just a very interesting thing the way that they do that. The lettering is really appropriately placed. It's very nicely put together. So I give the lettering a good B, maybe B plus. Literary merit. This is the one I'm always a little hard to figure, but when you realize that they're dealing with two characters like Adam West was a guy from the 60s, and Christopher Nolan, much more recent time, I think this book really, 10, even 20, 30 years from now, I think will speak to people because Batman's not going anywhere. The concept of who he is and what's going on is not going to change, I don't think. And so I think that this book is going to be something that, especially if you're fans of The Dark Knight or The Bright Knight, as they call Adam West, I think you're going to really enjoy this book. So I would give Literary Merit an A. Its staying power is going to be fun. Now, fun factor, the next one. That is a very interesting thing because they are critical of each other. Of course, the Dragonfly Man is much less caustic than Dragonfly is, so there's a lot less nastiness in what he says, but they still do criticize each other quite a bit. And then there's situations they get into, very funny things. I really like it. I don't normally come across books that have a good high fun factor, but this one has to be at least a B or a B plus as well. It's really, really good. Overall grade, as a longtime Batman fan and somebody who enjoys this kind of character, I have to say this is well done, and it's one of those books that I think is going to be around for a long time and be a classic when it's all said and done. I have to give this a good high A. It's just something special. If you like this kind of character like I do, and if you want to see more of this, I highly recommend you get out and get it from Ahoy Comics. It's just well done. One of the best out there, especially if you're a Bat fan like I am. So that's this week with comics, and get your indie comics at your local shop. If you can't, try Amazon if they're not there for some reason. But until next time, keep reading your comics.